Okay. Okay, well, welcome. I'm David Nathan. I'm the founder of soulmusic.com, and I'm elated to present, as part of our Soul Talking series at soulmusic.com, a conversation about To Stevie With Love, a special event celebrating the iconic Stevie Wonder on February 26th, this Friday, 2022, at Detroit's Carr Center. With me today are Terri Lyne Carrington, the Carr Center's artistic director, who is the musical director for this event, along with some of the multi-talented musicians who are participating in honoring the legend that is Stevie Wonder. Welcome Terri Lyne, Frank McComb, Dwight Adams, and Michael Mayo. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Okay, that's the only part I'm going to read. I learned from doing Zoom sessions that sometimes you do have to know what you're about to say before you say it.
Yes.
So, first
Thanks
question.
for having us. Thanks for
Well, you're
having us.
absolutely welcome. I'm really excited about this, about the fact that you are paying tribute to Stevie Wonder, who has been a part of the lives of millions of people through decades and decades, including myself, growing up here in London and then living in America for a long time. One of the questions that Gwendolyn asked me is, are you a Stevie Wonder head? In other words, do I like Stevie Wonder? I'm like, are you kidding me? How could I be working in soul music and not love Stevie Wonder? So, so I'm really curious, of course, to start off with, if you could tell us, each of you, a little bit about your relationship to Stevie's music and to, if you've worked with him before, how that's all come about. So who would like to kick it off?
Well, maybe Dwight should.
Not everyone speak at once.
Yeah, I think maybe Dwight should, since Dwight works with Stevie.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see. Where do I start? Oh, I grew up listening to Stevie's music, right? So my brother, well, actually, he's my uncle, right? He's 7 years older than me, and here I am with a little child, right? And I would hear Stevie's music in the house every day, played by my uncle, right? When that first album came out, the double album, that Stevie, that's probably one of his greatest projects. I grew up listening to that every day.
Wow.
So that music became ingrained in me. I never thought I would end up working with him. You know, to me, he's an icon, untouchable. But the powers that be led me to him. So, and this is how that happened. So Nathan watched Stevie's longtime bassist for 40 years, moved back to Detroit to take care of some family matters. And at that time, they were looking for a trumpet player. So Nathan reached out to his former high school band teacher, right, who was a good friend of mine, and I worked with him, right? He's a saxophonist, and his name is Ernie Rogers. You might know him from George Clinton's song Flashlight, like that's this saxophone solo that's in there. Yeah, that's it. But anyway, Nathan reached out to him, and since I had been working with Ernie, I guess I was fresh in his mind, so he gave Nathan my number. So I get the call from Nathan, and Nathan says, hey, we have a tour going to South Africa for Nelson Mandela's 80th birthday. Can you make the gig? So I said, think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking of somebody playing a joke on me, you know. It's like, but anyway.
Right.
That's quite a joke.
Right.
What a joke. So it's really him, you know. So anyway, he tells me, okay, we're leaving in 3 weeks. I need you to go out and buy this album called Live. What is it called? The Natural Wonder. It's a live recording that he and he just learn all the music, like just had to go music because there's no parts. So I had to go all this music.
Yes.
I was up for the challenge, you know what I'm saying? But I had grew up with that music. I grew up with Stevie. It was already partially there already.
Yeah,
I just really get, the little details and that type of thing. But Stevie is a big influence on me musically, and man, he's just been an inspiration. Even the times where I felt down, down and out, put on the Stevie Wonder record and I'll get lifted up. There's only a few folks who do that. Him and Louis Armstrong. I put their music on it. What I'm saying? If I'm feeling down, and they have something very special, a talent, that's for all of us. It's he's a gift that keeps on giving.
Okay, so that's how you came to be a part of Stevie Wonder's world directly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. All right. That's quite something. Yes.
20 years later, I'm still in the fold. Because I mean, that gig, I thought that was my last gig. It's like, okay. But I kept getting the call back. So, I feel very blessed and very, very honored privileged to have worked with him. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go next.
Yes, please, Terri Lyne. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, of course. I grew up listening to his music like every other person that I know that's in music. I think he was one of the, artists that you couldn't escape if you wanted to, because his music penetrated everywhere, especially in the Black community, but even, of course, beyond the Black community. It really, for me, helped to define Black music because he pulls from so many different sources. I mean, you can hear the jazz influence, you can hear, of course, church, gospel influence, and just soul music. You hear everything, the blues, you hear everything in his music. So he defies category to me. I always compare him actually to the Beatles because for me, as far as songwriters, the Beatles repertoire was, of course, just everybody knows how great it was or is. But Stevie's to me is just as great, and he's one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
right.
I feel like he needs to always be talked about alongside of great, popular composers like the Beatles. And so, just growing up listening to songs in the key of life, I think that was the one that I sort of kept playing over and over as a kid, because as a kid, I was listening to jazz mostly. But then on the side, I'm listening to Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder, because those were, two of my favorite artists. And then Prince came right after that. So it was a big thrill for me to work with him on a few occasions. I've played with him probably 3 or 4 times. One is one of the songs actually we'll be doing. Once I recorded with him with Herbie Hancock on album Gershwin's World. I paid tribute to him at Kennedy Center when he got his Kennedy Center honors.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, with Herbie and Greg Phillinganes and Take 6.
Yes.
And he's actually doing that arrangement of I Just Called to Say I Love You as well for this show that was done especially for that occasion, which Diane Shore sang, and then Raoul Midon also covered the same arrangement later. Which is interesting. I just thought about that.
Right?
Yes.
But
right.
and let's see, I played with him at another event or something that I'm trying to remember. But the biggest memory I have, Dwight mentioned Natural Wonder, because I got a similar call. I was playing Greg Phillinganes. He had a house band for a festival in Tobago, and it was, I guess, their first festival, so they had one band for all the artists, which was insane. So it was a 3-day it was a 3-day festival, and we had to play with one day was just Babyface, another day was Natalie Cole and Angie Stone, another day was India Irie, and I forget Michael, the saxophone player, I call him kind of hip hop saxophone player. What's his name? Mike Phillips. Mike Phillips.
Yeah.
And Mike Phillips. And then one day it was just Stevie.
A lot of music. Whoa.
Yeah, it was just a crazy amount of music to learn. But it was the same thing. Here's Natural Wonder. Just learn the whole live show. And so I was doing my best. And I was ready to go. I was totally excited, right? We didn't really have a rehearsal. And just had to do it.
No rehearsal?
I don't really think so. Definitely not with him. We may have run some things.
Ouch.
But see, a lot of people in the band that Greg picked had been playing with Stevie, like the background singer, some of them.
Yeah.
Kevin Ricard, I think. Michael, Michael MD. He was the second keyboard player. Greg, of course, he had been playing live.
Yes.
Mike, oh my God. Anyway, you guys know who I mean. Michael Bearden.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Michael Bearden.
Because I'm over there like, Michael.
We didn't have to look it up on Google, thankfully.
Yeah, no, but they kind of knew, a lot of people kind of knew, the repertoire. So I felt a little like me and maybe one other person were kind of like, okay. But so this is like a story that I kind of, I don't know if I like to tell it, but I tell it because I was so excited, and I'm like, I'm gonna just, I was like, it's gonna just, And so the first song we go, and Stevie didn't come to sound check. So the first song, and I'm like going in, like I'm about to play as hard and strong as I've ever played in my life. And kind of off. And then he's like pulls his in-ears out. He's like, oh my God, he screams like, turn down the drums. I was like, oh my God. I cannot be responsible for Stevie Wonder losing any of his hearing.
No, that's true. That's true.
So that was the first weirdness that happened on the gig.
Yes.
And then the next thing that happened, I mean, for the situation, it went fairly well. But the next thing, I had a brain fart. That's right. The next thing that happened was I had a brain fart between, I don't know why. I was just thinking 4 on the floor. A couple of the grooves were 4 on the floor, and I was like, superstition is one type of 4 on the floor, and then I wish, might be another kind, or it was what's the other one? Superstition and what's the other one that I probably why it's happening now. Oh man, there's another one, superstition and higher grounds. Thank you. Okay, so 2 totally different grooves, but kind of 4 on the floor. Yeah. So I was supposed to start one of those with the drums, and I was hearing for whatever reason the other one in my head. So I started playing the wrong 4 on the floor, and nobody came in.
I'm hearing you talk about it.
So nobody came in. So I'm like, oh shit, I must be playing the wrong. Well, that's what had to happen. But I was like, I must be playing the wrong thing. And then Greg is looking at me like, what the hell? And I was just like looking at him like, should I stop? I don't know what to do. So finally he just went like this. He goes, so I stopped playing. So he said, superstition, superstition. And I was just like, now I'm flustered. I can't hear any of this music in my head. Wow. So I just said, count it off. Just count off the right tempo. And as soon as you just count it off. Wow. So he counted off, and then we were in, and it was fine. But it was, quite an embarrassing moment for me.
Wasn't funny then, but it's hilarious now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And then my last personal thing was when we were, I guess it was when we were honoring at the Kennedy Center. Yeah, it was. We were in the same hotel because normally, they put the stars in different hotels as the band, but we were in the same hotel. And Lawrence Fishburne had been at the Kennedy Center honors that year, talking about somebody else. But so there was this big after party. Lawrence Fishburne, when we were leaving, we went and had a drink with some Herbie, and I'm like, geeking out because it's Lawrence Fishburne. I probably had a little crush on him or something. So then he grabs this floral arrangement from off of one of the tables, and he was with his mother there. And I thought he was grabbing it for his mother, but he grabbed his floral arrangement and gave it to me. And I was just tripping. It was all roses. And I was already thinking, I'm going to dry these roses. I'm going to keep them forever. This is like, you know, from Lawrence Fishburne to me. So we get to the hotel and I had forgotten my key. And I stuck the roses down like on a, you know, desk, you know, near the front desk. And I went to get my key. And meanwhile, you know, Stevie and Entourage were coming in, and I got my key, and then I look and my flowers are gone.
Oh.
And I was like, what the, you know, I started going off. I was so upset. And they said, oh, we thought those were Stevie Wonder's flowers. We put them in his room.
Oh.
And I was like, y'all have to get my flowers. You know, I don't care who he is. I need my flowers back.
That guy who had to go get the flowers.
Wow.
And his room was kind of right off the lobby. I mean, I saw the room. It couldn't have been in there 30 seconds. And everybody refused to. So I said to his guy who has been being nice.
Wow.
What's his main dude's name? Dwight, or used to be, I don't know. If you said his name, I would know it. Light skin, kind of mustache and beard, or used to have him. He kind of is the number one dude. He was always the one there taking him around.
Had several.
But this is light-skinned brother, kind of tall, good-looking, little hair on his face.
Yeah.
Anyway, him.
Yeah.
Him.
He.
Milton, right? Milton, that's his brother. Milton?
No, not Milton. It wasn't his brother. It was another guy, kind of tall. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so he had been really nice to me up until then. And so I said to him, you know, like, listen, can you get my flowers? And he was like, I'm not disturbing him, you know, in his sleep or flowers. I was like, but they're not his. And I wanted to say he can't see him anyway. But I didn't say that.
You are funny.
But I'm like, these are not his flowers. And dude refused to go get them. Because he said he's retired for the evening. I'm like, he got in the room 30 seconds ago.
Right.
So I was so upset. But Stevie, you know, you took my flowers.
Stevie took your.
Those are my favorite Stevie stories.
You lost your flowers to Stevie.
Give me my damn flowers. I want my flowers while I yet live. Give me my damn flowers.
So I assume you didn't get them the next morning either.
No, I was probably one of those mornings where I had a 6 a.m. leave or something. I knew I wasn't going to get them the next morning. So if they didn't get them then, they were gone forever.
That is a great story. Great. So you got great stories there, Terri Lyne. Great story. I mean, those are
that's
priceless.
That's pretty much all of them.
Priceless. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Wow.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right.
That's
Okay.
That's funny.
So now, Frank, Michael, whichever one of you would like to share. I'm going to tell you before we continue that you won't be able to top what Terri Lyne just shared with us. Nothing you say could. Well, that's true. I don't know that. I'm assuming. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll go. I don't really have. I have like one real life story, but I was like 9 years old, so that probably doesn't really count. But I will say, generally speaking,
it counts. It counts.
Both my parents are musicians, so I grew up going with them to like gigs and shows and rehearsals and stuff. But also just the music that they were listening to around the house growing up. Like I grew, like everyone else has said, I grew up listening to Stevie to the point where like Stevie Wonder being on just feels like the natural order of things, right? It just sort of feels like somebody turn on some music, somebody puts on Stevie, or like Michael or Earth, Wind and Fire. But Stevie is always in that, you know, that top 5 or whatever. So for me, I had Stevie before I like knew anything about like music theory or jazz or anything on that like quote unquote deeper level.
Yes. I
already had exposure to his music and it already felt like home and like family, right? I think you know, and how do I say this? For me, it's all wrapped up in just like being black, right? Like in the family. That's not to say that someone who wouldn't enjoy his music, because obviously that's not true. But for me, it it hits in the like family nostalgia, home culture zone. And he's always just sort of been there as a staple. And once I started getting into, you know, music theory and songwriting and all this stuff, the people that you love, you realize how much greater than you ever knew they've been the whole time. Like once you really start getting into the weeds. And I remember the first time I really heard "Don't You Worry About a Thing." Mind you, I had like heard the song like hundreds of times before then, and at this particular moment, I think I had just learned what like a minor 7 chord was in school. And so I was just like going, I was like, oh, I'm gonna find where these chords are in all these songs. And then I got to that song, and when he goes, "Don't you get all this like dramatic stuff," I'm like, yo, what is this? This man is crazy. It just like he's always been this amazing force. I guess I can tell my real life story. So my mom, her name is Valerie Princeton. My dad, his name is Scott Mayo, and they've both been on the scene for a long time. And I remember one year, I forget which one of them, but one of them was doing a gig where it was a similar sort of deal where it was like a house band. And they were, I think it was my mom. They were doing a show at this like boxer's house. And I can't believe I'm about to tell the story. But anyway, I was like 9 or 10, and there was this one particular show that I used to watch. The episode that week was all about how oftentimes people who like lose one sense, their other senses are strengthened, right? And so for me as like a kid, I was like, that's like magic powers, basically, right? So like Stevie has to have super hearing.
Magic powers.
So they're in sound check, and I'm just like walking around. It was a big venue, and I'm all the way at the back, and I'm like, so Stevie probably has superhuman hearing. So I literally, under my breath, am like, hey, Stevie. And my phone also just thought I said, hey, Siri. And then he looks up. I'm like, yo, it's weird. He actually has these superpowers. But then I realized it was like a person who was like 5 feet away from him said at an audible volume, hey, Stevie. And he turned around to look at them. I'm like, dang. He's still superhuman.
Before you say anything else, Michael, I should let you know I did not know your mom was Valerie. I know Valerie. I know Valerie from a couple of different situations, and one in particular when she came to Britain some years ago with members of Chapter 8.
Oh yeah.
As part of something we did in Liverpool called
the Blackpool. Did that, yeah. Called
the Luxury Soul Weekender, and I was actually one of the people who helped put it together with Michael J. Powell, and it was like a reunion of Chapter 8. So I didn't know she was your mom. So that's amazing. Wow. I mean, it truly is all
small world
connection. That is amazing. Wow. Awesome. Okay. Yes. Well, when you next speak to your mom, tell us that David from London said, hey, or something along those lines. Okay. All right, Mr. McComb. The floor, ceiling, camera is all yours.
Oh man, you guys all have great stories, man. I'm still laughing at Terry. I can't see you clubbing like that, but that's funny as hell. I'm not gonna lie. I met Stevie on the day I turned 23. I was signed to Motown Records, and so it's July 15th, 1993, and they were preparing a birthday party for me. You know, Motown, when they were here in LA, they had offices on the 17th floor and the 19th floor. So most of the action happened on the 17th floor. So somebody, you know, people talk too much in this business anyway. So somebody leaked it to me that they were having a birthday party for me. So I go down to the label, and it was then at the time Steve McKeever who was running Mojazz. And I'm in Steve's office, you know, just kind of waiting for the party to be ready, right? I'm in McKeever's office. He had this electric grand piano that faced the window. So I'm looking at the Hollywood sign, fresh in LA, right? From at the time I was living in Philly, from Cleveland. But fresh in LA, just, you know, blown away by Hollywood, you know, just the scenery and everything. So I'm facing the window, looking at the Hollywood sign, singing this tune. You can always catch me somewhere sitting at the piano singing when I was young. So I'm doing this Hathaway tune, Love, 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 just killing it in the room by myself, right? And then there's this harmony part that comes in on the chorus. And I hear this other voice come in, and I know I'm the only one in the room. And I hear this voice, and I stopped, and I was like, no, that ain't. Oh, yeah, it is. Whoa. Oh, And Stevie made his way in the room, and he's sitting down on the floor. I said, you Stevie Wonder. he said, I know. So he gets up from the floor. And he walks to the piano and he says, man, I got this song for you, man. I got this tune for you, man. I got this. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I got this tune for you, man. Let me sing this tune for you. And he gets up from the floor and he walks to the piano and he sits down and he starts killing this song, man. And I'm standing there in amazement, like, Stevie Wonder got a song for me. Wait a minute.
Wow.
I look at the floor and I look at him. I look at the floor and I look at you can see. You straight got up. Now I'm blown away about the song, but what that you get up. I'm blown away by the song. I'm like, my head is like, how did you get up from that floor and walk to the piano? You lying, man. You've been tricking us all these years. You can see. So he killing this tune. Hey, lovely one. When we gonna do it, Steve? When we gonna do it? I don't know. We'll talk to McKeever, man. We'll set up some studio time, and we're gonna get in there. We're gonna cut this song, man. I'm gonna gift you with this song because it's your birthday. My birthday gift to you, and I'm still waiting on that tune. Here we are, 20-something years later. I didn't get that song yet. So that's me and Steve's. That's me and Steve's ongoing joke, man. That's our ongoing joke all these years. I mean,
wow.
I asked Steve about a year ago. I said, hey, man, every time we run into each other, we talk to him, Steve, where my song at? Where my song? So I just ran into him. No, I not ran into him. I'm sorry. I did an interview on his station, KJLH, about a year and a half, 2 years ago with Kevin Nash. And we laughing about Stevie and joking and the whole nine. Who tries to get into the Zoom meeting? Steve. Crashes the whole interview. I mean, it was live on the air. He crashed the system trying to get on, man. But so he finally got on. He got the audio on. He couldn't get the video going. And I asked him then, where's my song? So that's the thing. I asked him once. I asked him then. I said, how come you never gave me that song? For real, man. He said, I never finished it. So I'm done. I'm done. I ain't never getting my song. I ain't never.
He also drove in Diane Reeves' video, and she said the same thing. She was in the back seat. They were in a big ass parking lot, but he actually was driving the car. So if you haven't seen that in the video, song he wrote with Herbie Never Said, and the official video, and this was like the late '80s, I think. The cameo at the end of the video is him driving her in the limousine.
Wow.
And he's actually driving.
Yeah,
and
I believe
she let him do it. Like, she got in the car.
Please tell me it was an open parking lot with a lot of bumpers and bumpers. Please.
No, it was an open parking lot.
I told you you could see. I told you that man could see. He can see, man. He been lying to us all these years. He can see. It's an intervention, all right. I remember, like, my memory can go back to maybe the age of 3 when it comes to music. I remember when they brought interventions in the house, man. I remember them playing Talking Book, and they thought I was crazy. My cousins, my aunts, they were the hip cousins, and my youngest aunt of 7 of my grandmother's kids. And they would pick on me all the time. They would put on, they say that, back then they would call it reefer. They would get their little reefer together, man, and get the album cover and knock all the little seeds out and start getting their little stuff together. And then once they get high, they say, hey, man, y'all want to see something funny? Put that Stevie Wonder record on or put that Headhunters record on and watch Frank. Man, they put that record on and I would make my way to the speaker and put my ear on the speaker thinking that they were in the speaker. They thought I was crazy. Or I would go to the record player and I'd be doing like this. They thought I was nuts. But it was only really the Stevie records and Herbie Hancock. I didn't care about nobody else. Yeah, I didn't care about nobody else. My grandmother used to tell me, y'all better leave Red Boy alone because Red Boy gonna shock the world. So
Wow.
now I'm here doing a tribute to Stevie. Thank you,
Yeah,
Terry.
amazing.
So I appreciate
This
you
is
calling me. I appreciate you calling me, kid.
yeah,
It's been
this
too
is
long since you and I played together. So thank you. I appreciate it.
wow.
Really, really
Absolutely.
good.
So just before we get into talking some more about this particular event and how it all came together, I just want to let you all know that this is, I know I'm going to be sharing my age as a result of saying this, but I have to tell you, the first time I met Stevie Wonder, he almost just recently stopped being little Stevie Wonder, and he came to London in 1966, before most of you were born, I'm assuming.
No,
Anyway.
I was born in 65, so
Well, thanks. So you were two. I was 16, but whatever. Anyway, I get it. So what it was is that the guy who had started in Britain something called the Tamla Motown Appreciation Society. So this is like 1964, and it was like bringing Motown to Britain, letting people in Britain know about all the different artists that were just coming up at the time. And we're talking about long before there was a whole stable of artists who were making hit after hit. And Stevie was in London, and he was doing some shows, I think primarily TV. We might have done some live shows. And so this guy who was the founder of this Tamla Motown Appreciation Society, Dave Godin, knew of me because I had bravely started the Nina Simone Appreciation Society in the UK as a teenager.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
so my introduction to music or to the world of music was kind of like Nina. So that's kind of, well, a little bit before Nina, but wow, what a way to kind of get involved, so to speak. And so I went to the hotel to meet Stevie. And I still have a photograph, which I can't show you on here, but somehow we'll figure it out, of me, age 16, with Dave Godin, Stevie, and Hamilton Bohannon, who was his drummer and a good friend. So I guess I could say that I could pull rank in as much as I've known Stevie Wonder, or met Stevie Wonder, a little longer than all of y'all, but that's all right. But just to say that, yeah, but, and again, for me, the same thing, I guess, echoing something each of you said, I never imagined that, that I would actually get to interview him, which I've done a few times over the years, and talk to him. And he just absolutely, I remember one particular occasion, just sitting and listening to him talk. I went to his studio, Wonderland in Los Angeles when I lived there, and I didn't, I just listened. I just listened to him talk because he's so much to say, and I think that for me, as someone who was born in Britain, and like many of the people throughout the world, he has made such a massive contribution to culture, to global culture, and either, I don't think there are many of those talent shows that we see with frequency nowadays, but someone at some point will do Superstition. Someone, because it's one of those songs that people learn, and I can Frank, you had something to say about that?
Superstition.
Okay.
I've done an arrangement of it. We're playing it this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I've done an arrangement. Oh yeah, man.
Yes.
The arrangement is like Stevie meets Herbie, because I kind of had them both in mind from when they worked together in '76.
Yes.
With Herbie playing on the ass for Songs in the Key of Life, and Stevie playing on what's that song on the Man Child album that Herbie did? I think it was called "Stepping in It." I forgot the name of the song, but it's on like they traded off on each other's albums in '76. So I kind of had that in mind when I did this version of Superstition. It's on one of my albums, man.
Yeah, so he's contributed he's contributed so much to the world, just the world and world of music in particular. So which brings me to the question that I guess I'm asking Terri Lyne particularly as a musical director, but also you all can chime in, say anything about this. How did you choose what to present in this show on Friday? I mean, given the enormous, countless recordings, many of which are classics. Tell us about how that all came together.
Well, I think about people first. The material has to match the people. So I basically went to, once, I decided to ask Michael and Frank, I basically went to them and, asked them what songs they liked. And then I might have had something in mind as well based on my own experiences. So it's just a collaboration, like that. We did actually a few songs for the season premiere in November of the Carr Center's reopening. So, we hinted at this show by doing a couple of Stevie songs, and we hinted at the show coming up in April, which tributes some of the great jazz women of Detroit, Betty Carter, Dorothy Ashby, and Alice Coltrane. So we played some of that repertoire, and so we'll do a couple of the things that we did in November as well, because we have the arrangements for them. Though that had a horn, like I think a 5-piece horn section, which we will not have this time. But Kevin Harris, a pianist, he did some of the arrangements that we did already in November. And I had actually played a gig with him doing all Stevie music. So that's why I called him he had all these jazz renditions of Stevie songs. And I really, liked two of them that we're doing, which is Secret Life of Plants and They Won't Go. And They Won't Go.
Wow. You know what's going to happen in this part of this conversation? Every time someone mentions a song, I'm going to have a memory of like, yeah, that song. Wow, yes, that one I do remember. But go ahead. Yes,
there's so many. And also thinking about how for me personally, originally my least favorite Stevie Wonder song was "I Just Called to Say I Love You" because
you and I agree on that one.
It.
So yeah, me neither.
But I thought it was amazing. When Herbie and Mark Kibble got together and came up with this arrangement, and then I really fell in love with it. And I remember Stevie crying at the Kennedy Center Honors when we played that song. So I just felt like, for me, it was important to give that song another chance. So So, and also just like when I talked to Michael, he had a couple of songs that he liked, and we were both, like two of my favorite Stevie songs are "Creepin'" and "Can't Help It." So we're doing those as well. And I had played with Frank already in another setting, Superstition. So I knew that he had this incredible arrangement for Superstition. So I asked him about that. And then he also brought the idea of doing Ribbon in the Sky. And Grégoire Maret, incredible harmonica player, is also playing with us. And he has several Stevie arrangements. He looked at the list and he was like, yeah, I have arrangements for that.
Yes.
But the two we settled on, his arrangements of Isn't She Lovely and Superwoman. So that's really how the repertoire came about. It's really dealing with the people and the characters and what they're comfortable with and what I think I could put, all together to make a good. Also, we're featuring a young guitarist, Keyanna Hutchinson, and the tune that she's bringing is Visions. It's another great one, right? They're all great.
There's just, as you mentioned, all those songs. For everyone you mentioned, I can think of like 10 that are. If someone had to choose to do a concert with they could only do 10 Stevie Wonder songs. I don't even know where you would begin, because everyone does have personal favorites and songs that they can personally, like a personal song. Mine is always going to be Tuesday Heartbreak. I think I had a heartbreak on a Tuesday. I don't know if I did, but Talking Book's like my favorite Stevie Wonder album. It was 1972. And I always try to wonder, was I having a heartbreak on a Tuesday? I don't know, but that song always, So,
but what I think is incredible about this kind of, this repertoire is like you can pick your favorite songs, right? But then somebody will do an arrangement and cover them. So for me, as much as I love Stevie's original version of Creepin', Shortly,
Yeah.
you know, in the late 80s, my favorite version of Creepin' became Luther Vandross.
Ooh, yeah, love them.
You know, and I still to this day creep exactly like you know I always tease Lisa Fisher. I'll just be like creep, creep, creep. It's just like, you know, that's just the arrangement. But I must say, Michael Mayo, he has a really amazing arrangement.
Thank
And yes, and
Nice.
so it's really beautiful to see how these songs can evolve, and those are true. It's a true testament to standards. You know, Stevie's music really, you know, are
Timeless.
standards, and it's,
Yeah.
it's timeless, and people can arrange them the way they hear it, and the songs hold their own through various arrangements.
That's right.
But you know
I
what?
mean,
Can I jump in?
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Frank.
no, you go. You
No,
go
no.
first. No.
No, I was gonna say.
Age before.
Oh no. You obviously are not. You obviously not looking at the screen very well, because you can see I've combined both. Anyway, I guess my Aquarian nature doesn't allow me to let you get away with that. Sorry.
You're growing well, man.
It's all good. It's all good. But I was gonna say I won't be silly enough to ask each of you if you have a favorite Stevie Wonder song, because you won't be able to say one, I'm sure. But since Dwight's shaking his head or smiling, Dwight, do you have two Stevie favorites? Two. We'll give you two.
I can't do that either. No.
You can't do that either. Well, maybe we should just scrap that question, because it's not really going to be useful.
Depends on what day it is.
Yes.
From day to day.
Yes.
Today I'm rocking ass. Tomorrow might be something else.
You said ass,
right?
Ass and rock.
Yeah.
And Rocket Love.
Oh, wow.
As is one of the, like, to this day.
Now tomorrow will be something else. It's like, so I can go any direction.
Yeah. As
Well,
one of the greatest opening lines of any song, like, as around the earth the sun knows she's revolving. Like, come on,
Who says that?
how dare you, sir? How dare you?
I'm telling you, Stevie.
Wow,
Stevie's
yeah.
music, Terri hit something. Terri hit something when she
Yes.
said the timeless music, basically, because Stevie's music. How do I say this? Forgive me, you guys. How do I say this? But I did a song called "We're Gonna Be on Our Own," right? And the lyrics in the song in the chorus say, "Once the music's gone, we're gonna be on our own." But the word "music" really means the lyrics, and we're losing a lot of legends, man. And I don't, in today's world, I don't know who can carry the torch. You know, we got a bubble wrap Stevie.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Using the same like we got a bubble wrap.
We're gonna have to bubble wrap him, because we're gonna have to do the Austin Powers, man, and bring him back, because I don't hear lyrics that hurt, that make me cry. I don't hear lyrics that hurt, that touch me, that really speak to my spirit. And with Stevie, he made the kind of songs that, I say it all the time, even in the song, I said, you can take the lyrics from a love song back in the day when we would come up. Now, the 70s is my favorite period for music, but you could take the lyrics of a love song, write them down, and give them to the girl that we interested in, and we most likely got that girl. But nowadays, you take the lyrics of a love song and write them down and give them to that girl.
She's gonna slap you.
She's gonna think we're trying to kill her or rape her.
She's gonna slap you.
Now, to this day, she's gonna knock you out, man. So to this day, we can still take the lyrics from even Tuesday Heartbreak. You know, it says something. You know, you can take the lyrics from one of Stevie's tunes and give them to somebody, and you most likely you can make Hallmark cards with his lyrics, man. So nobody's talking about anything today, man. I mean, really. So that's why I love flipping his music. I love flipping Stevie stuff, but it's an honor, not to compete, but in honor of what he's done and what he's leaving for us. You know, I mean, it's just great music, man. Tuesday Heartbreak, by the way, was my introduction to David Sanborn, because I think that's David playing sax. I think that's David Sanborn playing sax on that tune. So that's my introduction to him. Yeah, man. Some of the greatest musicians came through his camp on his records.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
that's true.
Yeah. So I love Stevie's work.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was of course in a sense this is jazz. I'm using a quote from Gwendolyn's message to me. It's jazz inflected. I mean, is that a correct way of referring to the program that you're going to be doing on Friday?
I think words are for people that need them. Like
Right.
words trying to describe music are really
Great
just
answer.
for the,
Great answer.
they're not for us.
Yeah.
Great answer.
So people, I'm to the point, people can write what they want. Somebody wrote me something else that they saw on the website. It's like, I never said that. So somebody had made that up because
Right.
they needed to figure out something. They think
How
that
to
they have to
yeah.
market something a certain way. And I appreciate that that's necessary. But as I said earlier, Stevie's music is, genre less.
Genreless.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
Right.
jazz musicians love to play his music, and so most everybody else too. And so yeah, a lot of us, have a jazz background. Is this like somebody said they read someplace that it was kind of have some kind of influence from the 60s, 70s like era of jazz, and that's absolutely not the case as far as I can tell. So I don't know where that came from. If you saw anything that said that, that's not actually accurate.
So when
That's what I
show-
heard. Yeah. That's what I heard. I heard
yeah.
I heard the same
I'm
thing.
sorry.
Yeah, somebody made that up. I don't know who, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it.
Anyway, the bottom line is
when I'm sorry, when I was interviewed just recently for this event, they asked me, was it true? And I said, well, now Terri, now I'll be honest, Terry's my friend. I'm not one to stroke. I'm not one to do that. I'm not a respecter of persons, but I respect people. But I told them, I said, listen, I don't know what the event is about, but if Terri called me, she's like my sister. I'm coming running. I don't care what it's about, but if it's a 50s thing, I'm sure Terri would have told me. But I don't know what it's about. I really don't care. But if it is 50s, if it's 60s, if it's 70s, it's still Stevie. Because he's timeless. So yeah, I heard the same thing.
I'm writing an email right now as we speak because that's crazy.
Yeah, that's out.
Don't get me in trouble now.
Yeah.
Terri,
No, you're not. No, it's not
Write
you.
a letter.
You didn't even say the 50s, 60s part. You
No,
just
I
said
didn't. I
jazz.
just
Jazz inflected actually is fine. That's
Right.
jazz inflected. You can
that's
say that
exactly-
about.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You can say that about most hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, not most.
This is jazz inflected. Yeah.
Yeah, that word is
yeah.
fine, but the 50s, 60s thing is not accurate.
Yeah. So one thing I want to.
50s.
I don't know if you all know this, but this is a fascinating fact. The second Stevie Wonder album, when he was 12 years old, is actually was called the Jazz Soul of Little Stevie.
Yeah.
1962. So it's kind of interesting to me, whether it's jazz inflected or soul inflected or however it's inflected, that the program that you're going to be doing on Friday, because I know each of you has some reference in some way for jazz or jazz and soul, and of course all of the different genres. But I thought that was kind of interesting, like the jazz soul of Little Stevie. I mean, that's like at 12 years old, and it's a completely instrumental album. I don't remember it.
That's his second album.
His second album ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
anyway. So moving on to
and I gotta let you know that I have to leave right at 2 p.m.
Sure.
for another meeting. But
actually, yes, we're coming up to the close of our thing. So what is my last question? Okay. Well, I have a last question. What do you all want to say about Friday, about Stevie Wonder? You each got 1 minute. Maybe 1 minute.
He's great.
Terri. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go.
So I just, want to say that I'm very excited to play with all of you and all of the other musicians that will be there. Hopefully my hands will start, work. Hopefully chops willing. People say God willing. I'm like chops willing.
Chops willing.
And we should have fun. I think that's the most important thing, to have fun. And hopefully, things aren't too complicated that we're, too worried about music and not having fun, because the spirit has to come through, and sometimes it's difficult when you put kind of an all-star group of people together that have not really played together. It can be difficult to focus on, the right elements. Sometimes you're too focused on making a mistake or not So I'm hoping that we just catch the spirit and that everybody's happy on stage, off stage. It'll be streamed. I hope that Stevie watches it. I'm not gonna.
Well, he'll listen. He'll hear it. He'll hear it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know, yeah.
Of
Why are you
course.
laughing? I'm just saying. I hope that that he, can. I know that he knows about it, so I hope that he, can
He can
appreciate
hear it.
our efforts.
Yes.
Of course.
And
of course.
I know that he likes jazz.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I've been around him in a rehearsal setting, he's jumped into playing giant steps without fail every time.
Right.
Yes.
So that's yeah. And I just thought about Michael when he was talking about being 9 years old. I brought my son when he was around 9, because Greg Gaines, he brought Stevie came to Madison Square Garden. I'd never actually been to a concert in Madison Square Garden in Boston, but and he, in typical Greg style, 2 days before the concert says, I need strings. Can you hook me up? Like, I need people to play the concert string. I'm like, you need what in 2 days? Yeah, they need to be, rehearsal tomorrow. I'm like, what? Who does that? Like, you're lucky I can pull that off. But, so we got him a string section. So I said, I can't go to the concert, but for doing this, please let me come to the sound check. I'd like to bring my son. And he's like, no problem. So I, I'm on the side of the stage, and they were all saying, you can come back tonight and sit on the side of the stage. And that wasn't going to work. But my son, he's 9 or so, and he's totally not into it. Like, he's just like, can we go? Can we go? I'm like, dude, he's like, Stevie's walking by him. And he's like, can we leave now? I'm like, oh man, And then, I'm like thinking, well, of course he's not as excited as me. He doesn't know really who he is, right? And then he went to school, the next day. I said, you got to tell your friends, maybe some of your teachers know, And he says, yeah, I went to school and I told my teachers that I went to the Stevie Wonder's sound check. He added an S. I was like, did you tell them Stevie Wonders? Really? I said, okay. I get it. You don't know.
Innocence, oh my God, the brutal innocence, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, that childlike spirit, though, I do hope we capture, because I think we're still all young at heart when it comes to our nostalgia, about Stevie.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So one more question I have
And I'm going to take that. I have to leave. So great seeing all of you.
Okay, thank you so much, Terri Lyne. We really appreciate your contribution, and you have definitely made us all laugh. Okay, well, just to wrap up, do any of you know if the show that you're doing on Friday, I know it's going to be streamed, will also be done anywhere else? Is there any plans to do anything like any kind of concert tour with it, or any kind of tour at all in this kind of way?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, no, but I don't have any information about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
All right. So I promised you all a minute each. And so, well, kind of to wrap up. So Terri Lyne took a few. So you all can have one each, so we can wrap it up. And just, just want to let you know, I would definitely be watching it since it's being streamed. I can actually watch it. But one of the amazing things about technology now does allow us to be somewhere on another continent and see an amazing musical event. So to wrap up, Dwight, I'll do it in the order that I can see you on the screen. So Dwight, what do you want to say in 1 minute to wrap up this wonderful conversation, actually, really?
I just want to say I'm ecstatic to be working with these high caliber musicians, all who I'm a fan of, right? I got
thank you
to Brother Frank over here by way of a member of his band, probably back, what was that? That was probably around early 2000, 2003.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time ago.
You know Herman? You know Herman Jackson, keyboard player?
I remember Herman. Yeah, I know Herman very well. Yeah.
Man, I heard you, man. I was blown away. I was like, who is that?
Oh man, thank you.
I was like,
Thank you, man. I'm honored. Thank you.
and he played. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so I
Oh man.
think of on the on the brother Frank over here, and I just got
Wow, thank you.
yeah, man, yeah. So I'm very honored, man, to be sharing the stage with you, man. Really looking forward to it. And brother Mike over here, I just got wind of him about a year ago by way of my friend, a trombonist, Vincent Chandler. He's like, man, you got to check this cat out. He sent me a text, man. I was like, what?
Man.
This is,
Yeah.
and now you said your father is Scott Mayo, the saxophonist?
Yeah.
Oh
You know
my
what?
God.
Nice.
Yeah, I know Scott, man. haven't seen him in many years, but wow, okay. Now I'm putting all the pieces together. Like, oh, okay. No wonder. All these brothers. So yeah, I'm looking for it. And of course, Terri, she's been on my radar since as long as I can remember. She's played with all the best who's a who. I just seen her the other day playing with Stan Getz. I never knew she played with him. So I'm like, what? She must have been like 10 years old sitting on the drum set, playing with. But yeah, she's been at it for a while, man, playing at such a high level. So yeah, I'm very honored to be part of this.
Excellent. Thank you.
Wow.
All right, Frank, Michael.
I'm honored to just be a part of it, period. To be with everybody, and to be called by Terri Lyne. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest with you, man. I can honestly say that my first record label, I was a label mate with Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
I'm honored to be able to just be able to say that. I was label mates at one time with Stevie Wonder. And I mean, for that to be my first record deal at 23,
Yeah.
I mean, this it's just putting it on paper, man. To say that in itself,
I gotcha.
And since then, Dave, my story.
Yes.
From there to Columbia, independent, and literally independent. And to be independent since 2004, endorsed by a little man named Prince, still here years later, and to still get called with no support, no record label, booking agency, management, is all me, and still be here and get called by somebody such as Terri Lyne Carrington to do a tribute for somebody such as Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Man, I know God is real, because that's unheard of for a man in my position. So I'm just honored to be among all the gifted, even the two gifted brothers on this thing here with us, and to be talking to you. Because David, you got to understand something, man. Well, you already know, because you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. You are a legend within yourself, man. And I appreciate you for even being a Frank McComb supporter all these years.
You. Well, thank you.
I'm grateful for you.
Thank you,
so
Frank.
I'm just glad
really
to be in the number.
It.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be in the number, man.
Well, you are.
So let's have some fun this weekend.
I'm just going to say one more thing, Frank.
Yes, sir.
We all want to know, I guess you already answered the question, kind of. You're never going to get the Stevie Wonder song, are you? From Stevie. Could you ask him to let you finish it off yourself?
At least let me finish it. But I believe if I get that song, my chances of getting that song from Stevie is our chances of being young again. Forget it.
Okay. Well, the only difference is, here's the difference, Frank. Young is a state of mind. Getting to finish the song with Stevie might be a little bit different. Thank you so much. Yes.
Man. Yeah, man. Love
all
you,
right.
man. It's good to see you. Man.
Thank you.
Really
absolutely. Yes.
Looking forward to playing with you brothers, man. Looking forward to working with y'all this weekend.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
All right, Michael.
I mean, I echo all the sentiments that have already been said. I mean, this gig is especially special for me because my mom's side of the family is all from Detroit, so I'm gonna have some family here, which is gonna be great. Gonna get to see my granny, which is great because especially since COVID, I don't get to see her often, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I got to play in Detroit at the Detroit Jazz Festival last year, which was awesome, but it was streaming, so it wasn't like, that side of the family has never really gotten a chance to like see me do my thing like live.
Wow.
Live. And so That's really
Nice.
special. And then, you know, like everyone else is saying, to get called by Terri for something like this, you know, she's a legend, and Stevie's of course a legend. And so to just like get the chance to do some of my favorite songs in an environment like this with some really awesome musicians is always just a gift. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, thank you all so much for your time today. This has been one of the most delightful conversations I think
Oh,
I've
wow.
had. One of the things that I think is really great in what I'm currently doing with my website, soulmusic.com, is to do these conversations under the banner called Soul Talking, where we just give people the opportunity to talk with each other about a particular event or a particular subject. And I think what I love about it is I think the conversations are such a vital part for people to hit. It's about listening into a conversation. And I think it's just been really extraordinary to hear each of you talk about your own experiences of Stevie and his music. And just what I can tell is there's a real joy in you all working together on Friday. And although I can't physically be there in person, I will be there on the stream, so to speak.
Nice.
And I
Nice.
invite everybody who's going to be checking it out to join the stream too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Take
sir.
care, everybody.
Thank you,
Have a
David.
great rest of your day. I'm going to have a great rest of my evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Take care
David.
now.
Be
Bye.
cool, buddy.
Yeah, you
Bye.
too. Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you.